Hello once again, watchers of Good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. So today I'm going to be talking about Season 6 of Castle. This is an ABC show, which has obviously been on for 6 seasons. It stars Nathan Fillion and Santa Caddick as Richard Castle and Kate Beckett. If you've seen the show, you obviously know this relationship. The way that this show progresses on this season is entirely much different. That being said, I'm going to be talking about Season 6 in its entirety here, so I will talk about the season finale, which aired last night towards the end of the video, so if you haven't seen that, you can watch the majority of this, and then I'll talk about the end of the season then. Again, to the beginning, the end of Season 5 had Castle proposing to Beckett, and this opening of Season 6 introduces us to that, and she obviously says yes, and she gets an offer to work alongside the FBI or the CIA or some sort of high-up governmental group. I'll put the actual one down here somewhere. And she really just does that for about 3 episodes or so. We get to see Beckett as she would be if she allowed herself to use her talents to the greatest possible abilities, but she is still so loyal to her peers at the NYPD that she uses the resources of the CIA to help them with their cases, and she reveals secret information about cases that both groups are working on, and it just becomes a whole halloo. She eventually gets fired from her job and just goes back to being a detective at the NYPD, and then that's where the season kind of continues off where it should have began, probably. We are going back to solving cases and murders and just a bunch of silly situations that each episode kind of presents. There's a few actually really serious episodes in this season, which I really like. There were some two-parters. There's one that has kind of just stuck out in my head where Ryan and Esposito are stuck inside a burning building, and we don't know if they're going to survive. I thought for a while that they were going to end up killing them off in this episode, so the fact that obviously they survived it, the fact that the writers are willing to kind of tug at our ideas of how the show will progress is a really interesting idea and concept. That being said, the writers need to focus on trying to figure out how to make the person who did said crime more not obvious, because it's kind of become a pattern with this show that whoever did the crime is always one of the first people that they talk to or meet. It's somebody who seemingly is innocent of all wrongs at all, just knows the victim in some way, shape, or form, and then evidence towards the end of the episode leads to them being the person who did it, and it just becomes so predictable by the end of it. And that's one thing that has kind of frustrated me for the last season or two now. It's just how easy it is to tell who is going to end up being captured and convicted of whatever crime is committed. A good chunk of the season is also devoted to planning the wedding of Castle and Beckett. That's what a large portion of the episodes just kind of touch on, one little bit here, one little bit there, and alongside whatever murder case they're solving that week. So that's kind of fun. It's kind of like a big build-up to the season finale. The mid-season finale, however, was very anticlimactic, just for the fact that it was essentially just a regular episode. Usually with mid-season finales, it has some sort of cliffhanger that makes us want to go and be really excited for the season coming back. This really didn't do it. It was a regular type of episode, and it just kind of disappointed me in that sense. One thing which is really cool, and I'm kind of talking more towards spoilers because this is the penultimate episode that I'm touching on now, is that Castle's mother's murder is finally dealt with and solved and closed the book on. Sandra Bracken is eventually found guilty. There's evidence in a cassette that Beckett ends up finding, left for her by her mother in a clay elephant, I believe. She smashes it, she finds the audio tape, she listens to it, and it's Bracken essentially admitting to everything that he has done. And so during an interview, they go in, Becky gets to arrest the man who killed her mother, and the case is solved, finally. And so we have this big story that has been kind of touched on here or there, really big, I think, in the third or fourth season, I want to say. It was just really, really neat to have that finally wrapped up. That being said, I think that the next season or the one after should aim to be the series closer, just because I don't want this show to get to the point where it's just doing another murder a week and there's not really any central story or central thing that we're aiming towards that we want to see play out. I think the fact that Beckett's mother's case is finally solved kind of allies with that, just because what else is there gonna be? There's the triple X or triple K or whatever the guy's name, that murderer, he's still on the loose, so I think he'll come back at some point and probably get caught or killed. The season finale of the season wasn't really terribly good, in my opinion. It wasn't like Once Upon a Time of Revenge, which the season reviews are up on my channel for if you're interested. Those season finales left me really excited. They tied up some things but left me anticipating others. They continued the general feel of the show, and Revenge even seemed like a serious finale. This one just honestly felt like a regular episode again. We didn't need the whole Beckett's married to some other guy and then they have to go and find him and get him out of whatever trouble he's messed up in. And I think the episode would have been so much better if the very end of the episode would have been the beginning and then they would have used that as the season finale. Please do that. Writers of the show. The very end of the episode, we finally get to the wedding. Kessel's on his way to the wedding. He's driving, he's talking to Beckett, and he gets attacked by some car. We don't see the attack itself, but eventually Beckett finds it in a burning heap on the side of the road. We are supposed to think that Castle is dead. He's obviously not dead. He's the star of the show. He's the name of the show. He's not going to die. So obviously, in the season 7 premiere, they will have Castle found, obviously not dead. There's that. I don't know, it was just kind of a weak finale for me, honestly. I would have liked to see that ending happen at the beginning and then have that season finale play off of trying to find Castle and figuring out who did this, and maybe set up a new villain for the next season, or somebody who they're trying to track down. Maybe Bracken sent some assassin to try to take down Castle as revenge on Beckett for taking him in. That is my thoughts on season 6. Overall, obviously, I enjoyed it. It's something to watch every week. You know the general formula by this point, but it's also very comedic, and it's fun to see the relationships of these various individuals play out every week and just kind of expand as the season goes on. Obviously, I'm looking forward to season 7. I don't think it'll be anything groundbreaking by any means, but I do want to restate what I said before. I think that they need to end the show on a high note before it just gets canceled, because I feel like with how repetitive it is in terms of its format, it is going to eventually reach that point. And I do want some sort of series finale conclusion wrapping up this whole thing. We need to get them married, for one. That's got to happen at some point. Obviously, it didn't happen now, so we have to wait for that again. So yeah, that's my thoughts on season 6 of Castle. Make sure to leave your thoughts on the season down in the comments down below. Did you like the finale more than I did? Did you dislike it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it very much immensely. Go and buy my short story called The Bridge down in the description down here. There will be a link there to the Amazon page where you can purchase it for Kindle. And as always, my people, my name is Nick Pell. I'm going to go watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And once again, keep on watching. I'm complicated, I get frustrated.